Hello, thank you for tuning into this episode. Today with me, I have Natalia Vihovsky of Think Natalia. She is a LinkedIn and personal branding strategist who is helping consultants to make LinkedIn their marketing and sales platform. Is there anything else you'd like me to add to the introduction?
Some people call me a LinkedIn unicorn. I usually introduce myself as a flawsome human being.
Oh, wow. So thanks so much for, coming on to the show today. And thank you so much for, giving some value and helping us out.
Oh, thank you. I'm really, really curious how I can add value, how I can edutain your audience. And yeah, let's have a great time. Let's do this.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you have a very interesting, job title / description because you are a coach consultant. So that's really unique. What was life like before you got into coach consulting?
Well, I started as a traditional people pleaser and everybody's darling. So I went to school, I did my bachelor, I did my master's. Then the first job was for a government position. So I worked in a stable job for 3.5 years and then moved into private economy, stable, great job for 2.5 years. And then I realized, when the big 30 was almost knocking at my door, I was like, oh, what the F am I doing with my life? I'm successful on paper, but I'm definitely not happy. I don't perceive myself as successful, and I'm continuously sick. So, to cut a super long story short, I quit my job. I went on a sabbatical for 9 months. I unlearned everything that I've ever learned or that I thought I used to understand, and then failed myself up to my dream lifestyle, my dream life, and my dream career. And I realized it is a mix between coaching and consulting. So it's coach-salting, and it's all about edutaining people, which is a mix between education and entertainment. My job is to make people think and laugh. And at the moment, for this phase of my life, I do that, as you said, through teaching people how to build epic thought leadership personal brands on LinkedIn and how to use that tool to make a lot of money and make the world a tiny little bit better.
Mm. So, you mentioned something that was interesting. So how to unlearn everything? Was that just a natural progression or was that on purpose that you decided to try and do that?
It was everything but natural. It felt horrible. It was the famous leap of faith. And I literally reached a phase in my life in which I was suffering every day, physically and emotionally. I think I was really sleeping and living my life how everybody expected me to do. And when I hit rock bottom, I think this is when my soul, which was sleeping for many, many years, was like, oh, finally, let's have some fun.
Uh,
So my soul knocked at the door of my self-awareness and say, there's so much more to life, but you don't understand. Everything that you do is just nonsense. So why don't you find your own answers? So this is when I realized, okay, well, let's have a look at all of the concepts that are important to you and understand what is it that society taught you to think about this? What is it that your social environment, your peer group, your family wants you to think about it? What is it that I think of it? So it was everything. Thoughts related to family, relationships, careers, religion, politics, self-development, compassion, like anything. And when you do that, which was a process of over 3.5, 4 years, you will really, really, truly understand who you are when you take off this mask and this social construct of who you believe you are. And well, then you turn into this, I don't know how you want to call it, stardust, glitter, soul, the real you, the authentic you that you truly are. And this is when life starts to be super fun.
so let me ask you this. Why is it so important for you to figure out who you are?
Because I think the way how we are conditioned or socialized is driven by fear, by ego, and by scarcity. And when you live on such a level, which is not really living, is more surviving or existing, you can't properly create, and you can't give your best, and you can't serve others and unleash your full potential, because a part of you is scared. So this is why it's important that you really ask yourself these questions. Let go of everything that hurt you in the past. So forgive and forget and let go for your own sanity, and to also eliminate all of the nonsense, fears, and insecurities that you have about the future, because the magic really lies in giving your best and in helping others, and again playing with that spirit that's inside of you, expressing it, giving it a stage to communicate with the world. Because we are all born with something special, or some skill or talent or gift or however, but I think less than 5% of these people on this planet actually have the courage to express that. And that's the reason why many of us die full of regrets, full of fear, wishing, oh, I wish I had. And I realized that's my biggest fear in life. So this is when I made the commitment and said, you know what, screw that. I become my real self.
Oh, wow. That's interesting that you say that's your biggest fear in life. So let me ask you this. So a lot of people who watch this might be at rock bottom, but they don't know they can do something about it. What was that thing that caused you to, one, recognize that your soul was telling you something was missing? I don't know if you're an intuitive person naturally, and then what made you decide to actually take action and do it?
Well, I reached a stage where nothing made sense. On paper, again, everything looked good, but I was consuming like a crazy person. So I went shopping on a regular basis. Oh, new shoes. Oh, new handbags. Oh, new makeup. So that is not normal, and that's not healthy. And then I was also drinking a lot of coffee and eating a lot of sugar shit, as I call it. And, having a glass of red wine way too often. And I said, what on earth am I? I'm just a passive consumption victim. I was disgusted by that thing that I saw in the mirror every day. And I said, that's not you. And then on top of that, I had this pain that was kicking in every day. Like I ended up in hospital twice per month. And the doctor said, we don't know what it is. It might be in your head. You need to stop doing that. And if you don't stop doing it, it could get chronic, and it could end up as a cancer. And there was me, at the age of 29 thinking, what the F? I don't want to die. So, after a very, very long time, I surrendered, if you want to use that word, and I asked for guidance. Like, I'm not a religious person. And by then I also wasn't very spiritual. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm just so lost. I need a sign. I need something, like whatever, whoever, and which religion or which force or nature or God or Buddha or I don't know, just help me. And there were two thoughts that appeared in my life that changed everything for me. The first thought was, the pain that you're going through is self-created, which for me was damn, because it meant that I cannot blame anybody. I am the reason why I'm suffering. So I need to fix myself. I need to heal myself. And the second reason, or the second idea, was from, apparently Gandhi said that, but then some people are like, no, he didn't say it in that way, whatever, let's forget that, just as a side note. But the core idea was, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I said, okay, so if let's assume I'm crazy enough to rule or inspire or lead the world, what would I do with the world? And then I realized that the world is lacking laughter, and the world is lacking people who don't take themselves so seriously, and the world is lacking true role models who just talk about their fuck-ups and about their learnings, and who are just nice to other people, although they're strangers, like people who are compassionate. And I said, okay, I give my best, and I make this my mission to become that person that I would have needed when I was a teenager. I give my best to become that role model, that thought leader that I can't find for myself at the moment. And let's see, maybe it just helps one person on this planet. And I think that's a good start.
Okay. So that's interesting. So a lot of people watching, right, or even myself at times, balancing, being professional with being, a character in a brand. How where do you find that balance, or do you even care about that balance?
Well, I created a post once which asked what does professional even mean? And I got over 300 comments below that post on LinkedIn. And I've analyzed that afterwards, and the results were crazy. So what I figured out was that professional is a very, very relative and a very subjective word, because professional means something different to every person out there. It depends on factors like your age, your gender, your culture, your status, if you work for yourself or for somebody. It depends on your industry. It depends on your mood. It depends on the mood of the person actually watching your video or reading your content. So maybe professional is not a word that we should take so seriously. And this is then already, I think, the perfect thought that connects to the next idea. I believe that every piece of content, everything that you do online and offline when you're serving others, it's about adding value. And how do you add value? Either you inform or inform or teach people, or you entertain them, or number three, you go for an edutainment options, which is a mix between education and entertainment. So as long as your post adds value and you are yourself, you will find your own audience. And there are people who are at the edge of becoming their true self, so they might be still a little bit serious and whatever. But I just read this beautiful book. It was called The Book of Joy by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And these are two massive spiritual and religious leaders on this planet. Like, these are men who have seen a lot, who have some of the highest status and respect on this planet. And they were laughing and giggling and telling fart jokes. You know, this is somebody, these are people that we need to look up to and learn from. So you can add value and be you and be funny and not take yourself too seriously. We as human beings take ourselves way too seriously because we believe we're important. And a lot of people believe that if we don't wear a black suit and a tie, then this could have a negative impact on our blah. People do business with people. And what people are craving nowadays is authenticity, transparency, and honesty. And you need to find your own way how to bring that message across. And the more self-work you will do on yourself, the funnier, the crazier, in quotation marks, and the more different or unnormal you will become, because normal for me is mediocre and average. People who worked on themselves, they understood that, come on, just be yourself, don't care about the opinions of others. And these are usually the people that we like to follow, that we get inspired by, and that we see as our heroes or role models.
So can I ask you this? So, what does being a thought leader mean to you?
For me, so we have two things. We have thought and we have leader. So it means that you're thinking, and it means that you find your own answers. You have the courage to have a look at concepts and say, I've looked at this, I looked at this, didn't make sense, I applied it, I found my own answer. So it means experimenting, testing, finding your own answers. And leading means going out of your comfort zone and always being one step ahead. Not because you're thinking you're something better, but it means you have the strength, the courage, and maybe it's also something in you that you love, like maybe it's even a value. So combining is somebody who takes ownership in his or her life, and who gives his best to to inspire or to guide people when it comes to specific concepts, philosophies, strategies, and ideas in business and life.
So then this is a two-part question, right? The next one that I have. So can you become a thought leader if you don't have people following you, or do you only become the leader part once you have people following you?
I believe you need to have a following, because I mean, when nobody's there, like, whom are you leading? Like, you can become a self-thought leader, like you're leading yourself first, but you need an audience. It doesn't make sense. Like,
Exactly. So, how can someone who doesn't have a following start to grow one without having to go send a million friend requests every single day?
Work on yourself and authentically share your journey. Thought leadership, or let me start a few thoughts before that. A lot of people approach me and say stuff like, "Oh, Natalia, I want to be a thought leader on social media. Can you help me with that?" And I, in the beginning, said yes. And I made a big mistake. And over the years, I have learned that I cannot make a thought leader out of somebody. That person needs to make himself or herself a thought leader, which is a lot of self-work. It's meditation, it's forgiving, forgetting, it's mindfulness work, it is growing, it's getting out of the comfort zone. That is something that a person actively needs to commit to. And once that person has done that, then I can help them and teach them how to use social media, respectively LinkedIn, in order to build an audience and to inspire and lead and guide them. But if you are like, how do I say that in a friendly and nice way? If you live a mediocre life, if you're just average, if you're a victim, if you just like, I'm like, nah, you're just another person. You don't have your own brand. You don't have your own voice. You don't have your own message. You're just copying this person. You're just reposting stuff. You're not creating your own content. Then that will not work, because you're not tapping into your gift or into your you, and you're not a leader. You're following. You're consuming instead of creating.
Yeah. That's a very big. So let me ask you this, right? So there are a couple parts you can pivot to that, right? So let's say the person has put in, the time, the effort, they've forgiven, they're forgetting, they're meditating, but they're posting content is just not taking off for them. What are they missing? How do you get the people to want to follow you?
Yeah, ask yourself, why would somebody gift me with his or her time?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. And if you don't know that, then have a look at, like, let's say the 5 role models or thought leaders or personal heroes that you have, and ask yourself, why are you so addicted to their content? And then ask yourself, what is the perfect mix or blend? So you take the stuff from these 5 people that you like, plus add a huge portion of you on top of that. And that is then the reason why people should follow you. Extra tip: the magic lies again in sharing your own story authentically, in talking about what matters to you, in talking about the stuff that upsets you, in making your content not about yourself. It's not hashtag blessed, hashtag woke up like this, hashtag on a boat. It's not about taking a picture in front, like, of you in front of a luxury hotel, or with a bottle of champagne, or sitting in a luxury car with super long nails, or like this I don't know how expensive watch. That creates more disconnection and more jealousy. Your content should add value. And another tip, it should focus on the problems, the desires, the fears, the insecurities, the everyday life of your audience. It's not about you. Make it about them. So your audience decides if your stuff is relevant, not you.
Mm. Let me ask you this. So when you're talking about your authentic self and you're posting content, are you trying to do you teach people to choose the audience before, or do you just post your content, let everybody come to you, whoever comes to you is going to be your audience from then on?
It's a mix of both, pardon me. So you definitely need to work on expanding your following or audience, or on LinkedIn, it's connections, right?
Mm.
So there is a strategic approach that I have developed on how people actually reach out to somebody who could become a community or tribe, or however you call your community. So that's the first step. But then also through your content, through the words that you use, through your language, through your energy, through your craziness, through your brand, you will attract the right people. The right people will like you, they will fall in love with your brand as a human being, they will get addicted, they will celebrate you, they will be part of everything that you do. And some people will say, nah, don't like that person. And that's okay, because it's a little bit like desserts. There are people who don't like German apple pie. Like, how on earth? Or there are people who don't like tiramisu. Or there are people who don't like vanilla, because dessert is not in competition with each other. It's just different kind of desserts. People have different tastes and like different flavors, and that's beautiful and healthy, because imagine we would all like the same stuff, the same thing. So our economy works right now. It would totally collapse. It doesn't make sense.
Mhm. So let me ask you this. Which one, so do you recommend that people start creating their products and services, before they have the audience, or do you wait until they have the audience, you understand exactly what they want, and then you create the product?
So it depends. Some people approach me and they say, Natalia, I want to offer this and this and this, but I don't know who my target audience is. And then there are people who say, Natalia, I know my target audience, but I'm not 100% sure about product will evolve. So based on the situation, we then create different strategies, and both of it's okay. There's no right or wrong. Start with what you have, be resourceful, and again, make it about your audience. A lot of people create online products like online courses or whatever because they think it's awesome. But if you don't let your audience participate in that, and if you don't get feedback based on what their real world problems are, that could end up in a disaster. And when you have a great product, but you don't serve it in front of the right audience, it doesn't make sense either. So you need to make sure that you approach the right people, or that they see your content, that they know about you. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. So, branding and, product lines. Does having a mixture of high ticket and low ticket items, hurt your brand or the viewer perception of your brand?
Well, the funny thing is that almost everybody that I know, they were like, "Oh, you need to have how do you call it? Like low entry products, and you need to have an ebook, and you need to have a book, and you need to have an online course, and then you need to have coaching, and then you need to have mentoring, and then you need to have a masterclass, and after the masterclass you need to have, I don't know, a golden circle. After golden circle you need to have whatever." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know where to start. I feel overwhelmed." And I decided to work with an expert, a strategist, who helped me scaling my one-on-one coaching into group coaching. So what I'm offering right now is group coaching plus mentoring, plus I'm a keynote speaker. These are the three things that I'm doing. And for me and the lifestyle that I want to have and the sales targets that I want to achieve, that perfectly works. So it's like with everything in life, figure out what works for you. Like, get inspired and listen to what these people out there say. But again, I think what is really, really important is that people understand, how do you want to live? How do you want to work? Because a lot of these advice of high ticket, low ticket, and this product, blah, 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 is based on the idea that you have an office and that you hire at least 10, 15, 30, 80 people. And I just don't want to live like that. I was like, thank you so much. But I actively decided against it. I locked myself away for a very long time, and I asked myself painful questions every day based on, how do I want to work? With whom do I want to work? How many hours do I want to work? What am I good at? What is it that I hate? And just because this kind of company structure would make me 10 times more, 100 times more, I don't give it because money for me is not my highest value in life. I love money. I think money is a fantastic tool. But for me, freedom, growth, and contribution are bigger and more important values than money. And I also don't see myself as a typical entrepreneur. Like a lot of people call me an entrepreneur. Call me whatever you want. I'm definitely not that person who's going to set up a business and who's going to hire coaches and at a certain stage scale that and have an academy. I don't want that. So once Natalia dies, I'm dead. And it's fine. The business is also dead. Doesn't matter.
Mm. So an additional term of high ticket versus low ticket is the price point. So what I'm saying is, like, some coaches, they're like, I only want to charge like $399, for like a certain period of time. Other ones are like, I want to do 10,000, 5,000, those kind of numbers. I'm saying if you have a mix of those different types of price points, does that, hurt how some people perceive your brand or even care about that?
Well, it depends on how you position your brand, right? If you position yourself as a top expert, as somebody who's a legacy in your field, then it definitely makes sense to offer high ticket products. Like, I would be a little bit if something is very, very cheap. But then I know people who are huge thought leaders, and they regularly have, buy an ebook for $20 and buy my online course for 100 or whatever. The thing is the following. What I've learned over the last years is the lower the price is, the more pain in the ass clients you get. Sorry to say that, but it's true. The lower the price is, the more you have those people who are like, it doesn't work. I want my money back. This is crap. Because what I've also learned is that the higher the price is, the more it actually hurts, the more people are willing to put in the time, the love, the energy into making things happen. So I realized that with myself as well. Like, the money that I had to pay for my consultant was the money that I have saved for over 20 years. I was like, this is the money that I have, like, I don't know. And you want me to invest in you? What? Do you know how many years I saved for that? And he's like, I don't care. You want to grow? Yes or no? And because I paid so much money, I really listened to every flipping word that he said, and I implemented like 99%. But this is then also the reason why I got the results. And there are also people who say you need to be super ridiculously expensive, and then you just don't need to do anything. You just need to show up, raise your eyebrow, and say, you implemented it? You didn't implement it? Well, don't tell me bullshit. I told you what to do. What's your problem? I was like, whoa, let me test that. Maybe now.
Yeah. When you tested it, how'd you like it?
Well, I increased my prices, and it really makes a difference. It makes a difference. I mean, I started coach salting 5 years ago, and I increased my prices with every client because I wanted to know how much are people willing to pay. And at a certain stage, I realized, okay, that works. That doesn't work. But, well, I've tested it, and now I know. This is what people are willing to pay for this service. It feels good to me. It motivates me to all in and help them and support them and be there for them. And it hurts them enough to actually take action. And again, there's no standard formula. You need to test that for your own brand based on what you have created.
Interesting. So let me ask you this. For your group coaching, so is it a group coaching or is it a mentorship? I don't remember whether you made a distinction.
So I have a 2-month group coaching. And then when people are done with that, there is a 6-month mentorship.
Is the group coaching, is it like it starts at a specific date and then they're all at the specific time, or can they just enroll whenever within a rolling period?
So people can enroll whenever they want. Because I was thinking of, there's also this kind of concept or model that is very scarcity based, because scarcity works in marketing and sales. We all know that, right? It's like only 2 days left, only 5 seats. Like everyone's like, oh, let me buy. So there are coaches or consultants who have this, I only open my doors 4 times or 3 times per year. But I was like, no. So people can always join whenever they want. And the powerful benefit of that is that when you have a group of, let's say, like 30 or 20 people, and everybody is in a different state, like somebody are in week 2, some people are in week 8, some people are in week 3, they all learn from each other. So the person in week 2 gets inspired, maybe slightly intimidated by the person in week 7 or 8, and is like, whoa, this is the best thing I've ever done, I still want to become like that person. But also a person out of week 8 or 6 could listen to a question from somebody in week 1 or 2 and say, damn, that is so great, I never thought about it, let me go back and actually fix that, thank you so much. So you won't believe how much power there is in group coaching, in creating peer pressure, in learning from each other, and in creating that accountability.
So an interesting thing that you mentioned was like the scarcity. It's funny, like I've seen just so many different internet marketing over the past like years, right? That it's like when I see those scarcity countdown timers and stuff, it doesn't make sense to me why someone would, like, for lack of better words, go for it. But I recently heard someone say like it's only going to be open for a couple of weeks, and do you still find that it works, or?
Well, the thing is that people like you and I assume we spend a lot of time with other marketers and online experts and coaches and consultants. So in our reality, everybody knows that. Everybody's doing it. It's like, how does that stuff even work? But our clients, they don't know that. And many of them are not aware, especially when you work in a field that has something to do, like is a little bit connected to personal transformation, self-development, empowerment, self-awareness, becoming a better human being. You literally have to wake people up and get them out of zombie mode. And in zombie mode, it's all about survival, scarcity, and consumption. And this is why I think it works, and why it will it will work in a very long time. I mean, scarcity is a trigger, authority is a trigger, trust, anticipation, likability, social proof, reciprocity. These are all social triggers, but I still believe that scarcity is a big one.
So that's interesting. You said wake people up out of that, consumption and the zombie mode. Well, because you're coaching, you have to wake them up early. But if you had a course, so let me ask you this: do you think that courses, to sell courses, they rely on people being in that zombie consumption mode, and then for coaching, we have to wake them up beforehand, and then they start wanting to work with us, or?
No, I think every individual works differently and is on a different state of awareness. So I have people that approach me, and I can clearly see that they are in a state of awareness where I'm not the right choice. And I have, how do I say that? Like my business ethics, my morals, just don't allow me to onboard such a person into my group coaching, because I know they will not get the results. And that's stupid, because if they don't get the results, then I look like an idiot. They're frustrated. It hurts my life. It hurts their life. It ruins my reputation. So when there's somebody who is not ready to really work on his or her personal brand, who's like really in zombie mode, then I say, thank you so much for your trust and for, approaching me. But I am not the right person for you right now. Based on what you said, I perceive that, and this is my personal recommendation, again, I'm not the expert, I believe that working with a life coach, with a family therapist, with a theta healer, with, a career coach, with a performance coach would be a better option. People that I work with that I trust are number 1, number 2, number 3. Send them my regards and have a conversation with them. And then once you're ready, get back to me, and then we work on your personal brand.
Mm.
I mean, the how do you call it? The metaphor that I use is I help people fly. Like I make unicorns out of them. But if people approach me with a huge backpack full of negativity and stones, it's so difficult to fly. So I say, empty that bag first. And frankly speaking, you're not even walking, like you're crawling with that backpack. Get rid of the backpack, stand up, start to walk, start to run, then approach me and we're going to make you fly.
Mm. So what about the people who appear good on the phone, but then when you actually get them in the program, a couple weeks in, they start getting discouraged? Do you generally like let people take a hiatus? Do you let them go? What do you do to get them re-energized?
It really depends on the person. Like when I realize that people are less motivated, or when I don't see them showing up for the group call, I usually send them a voice note. And the funny thing is that the way how we are wired, we often believe, or at least the people that I know, they're like, oh, most probably it's because of me, because I have done or I haven't done. And I realized that in 99% of all cases, it has nothing to do with me. Maybe that person also goes through a divorce, but didn't tell me that. And now as I approach them, they're like, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you earlier, but I'm going through a divorce. Or it could be I'm moving, or it could be my dog died, or it could be my life is just so busy, like I don't know what to do at the moment. Or it could be I realized that I just have an energy block and it doesn't work. And I was like, okay, if that's the case, then I recommend this and this and that person. Give yourself a break, work with that person first, come back to me, and we finish that. Again, I want people to succeed. Like I don't work with people where I have a feeling they're not going to implement what I work with. I rather have a small circle of like people who really commit to it than having like a massive tribe of people who are somewhat committed with a hint of mediocrity. Nah, that's not how it works for me. So I mean, I have like a 45-minute strategy call before I decide if I really want somebody in my tribe, and I'm testing them from all kinds of corners, and I ask them questions about their business and about their life, and I'm also testing if they understand humor and if they can stand and like my energy, because I'm not for everybody, and no coach or no consultant will work for everybody. So it's like in a job interview, both parties have to get to know each other, and when one party is like nah, then I talk about it and the person talks about it, and then we either are mature enough to say yes or no, and whatever the end result is okay.
That's interesting, actually, the last part. So, I'm sure that you might get this one or two times. If the person is slightly on the fence and they ask, what is my guarantee? Do you go into objection handling, or do you just say, maybe it's not for you at this time?
Well, people who want a guarantee are usually those people who are not going to implement stuff. They want, they're expecting somebody to fix all of their problems for you. Like I never heard the sentence, I want a guarantee for that, but I know that my friends had that before. So whenever somebody uses that sentence, I automatically, like if that would ever happen, I would automatically disqualify that person, because I know that's a pain in the back. I know that person will approach me at a certain stage and say, it doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? Because that person is not implementing things. But a sentence that you can always say is, I can guarantee you that you're going to succeed if you implement everything that I'm going to tell you. But by asking this question, you make me wonder if you're one who actually listen and get inspired, but then maybe are not so on point when it comes to the active execution.
That's interesting. Cool. So, do you have any cool projects coming out or anything that you'd like to talk to the audience about, or?
Nope. At the moment, I've massively updated and restructured and added tons of bonus material for my group coaching. I'm super happy with that. I'm working on a few LinkedIn learning courses with LinkedIn itself in Austria. So there will be 6 new LinkedIn learning courses, which are free of cost in German, on the market, in 2020, which is I'm excited about that. It's cool. I love working in the studio with LinkedIn. But at the moment, my focus is really on scaling that group coaching and in getting more people into my mentorship program. These two work super well, and we haven't made the most out of it because, again, it's not even a year old, that service. So I'm a big believer in really master what you have, make the most out of it. And if that starts to get, you slowly but surely have the feeling like, the curve slowly but surely goes down, then you onboard other people and then you come up with new products or services or whatever. But I haven't reached that point. It's far, far away.
So, what are your goals for 20 or for this year in case someone's watching it like 2 years from now?
So this year, I realized that my goals are not really related to business. Like business, yeah, of course, I want to double my sales. Okay, nice. But like my true amazing, this is what I want to do. Goals are, number one, I will move back to Europe after spending 12 years in the UAE. So I will live in the UAE and in Europe. So I'm going to split my time, which I'm super excited about. This is like my highlight of the year. I will do my best to go back into dancing. I used to be a professional dancer for over 10 years, and I have not really danced over the last 5-6 years or so because I was working my butt off to change my life and to build up a business that really works. So I will step back into my passion. And I want to design a new era or a new concept of edutainment, and I'll start working on it this year. So I want to see how I can combine the knowledge that I have with maybe dancing, maybe motivation, maybe more stand-up. So I want to build something that wasn't there before, and I don't know how it looks like. I know how it feels like, and that feeling is amazing. So I want to start working on this.
What kind of dancing?
You'll laugh about the title. So it's called disco dancing, but it has nothing to do with John Travolta. So what it basically is you have approximately 140 beats per minute. And if you would see a Madonna concert or Justin Timberlake concert, that's basically what the background dancers do. So I used to be a solo dancer. I was a choreographer. I trained a small group, and I was part of a huge formation. And we danced German championships, German cups, Europe cups, world championships. So I was literally like in the studio training, 6 times per week for many, many hours.
So were you happy doing that? Or was that while you were still like your soul was still sleeping?
I will do that as a hobby, and I will look at ways how to merge that into my business, but I don't want to make dancing my way of how I make money. I asked myself the question at, how old was I? Like maybe 21 or something, and I actively decided against it. It's just, that's not how I want to live and work. And I want to keep it a hobby.
Yeah, so it's still fun,
Exactly. It's like, oh no. Imagine doing that when you're 70.
No. It depends. Well, not like that, but performing, if you're the person just like in the middle or in the back, and then you got the other people, but you don't like having employees. So that actually, makes sense, actually.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I like having movement around me. I like having people, do stuff with and / for me. Cool. So, where can people learn more about you?
So the best way to get in contact with me is literally on LinkedIn. You'll find me under Dr. Natalia Wiechowski. And on there, I'm literally sharing insights and hacks, and I have LinkedIn lives, I think 6 times per week. So you'll find me there. If you want to see more, scenes into my everyday life and stuff that I usually don't post publicly, then follow me on Instagram, especially on Insta stories. You'll find me under @thinknatalia. And if you say you want to make LinkedIn your core marketing and sales platform, you're ready, then I invite you for a free strategy call, and you'll learn everything that you need to know about it on coachingwithnatalia.com.
Excellent. Yeah. So in case you don't know how to spell her name is right underneath her picture on the Zoom link. It starts with a W. So you can type in Think Natalia, or if you're on LinkedIn trying to type in her exact name, it starts with WIECHOWSKI. Excellent.
Woo!
That was pretty good. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time and really liked your message.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Yeah. So to the people watching, thank you so much for making it to this point. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this content as much as we enjoyed making it. If you want to get more interviews just like this with experts and people who are making moves and thinking bigger, I recommend that you go check out the group called Uncapped Growth Strategies. There's going to be a link in the description below. As the name suggests, we give you everything you need to start moving forward towards that business and life that I believe you deserve. If that's what you're looking for, I recommend you go check out the link in the description below. Thanks again, Natalia. Have a great day.
Likewise. Thank you.